An anonymous author wrote Life of Aesop, a book narrating the story of a wise but physically deformed slave, Aesop, and his master, the philosopher Xanthos. Similar to his fables, Aesop's life story includes lessons passed down through the oral tradition of the ancient world. In one particular incident, Aesop, despite his status as a slave, rescues his master from a difficult situation caused by his excessive consumption of wine. Here is the story.
Xanthos entered the room quietly and placed an object on the table. As the night progressed, the conversation shifted towards academic problems and issues commonly discussed among educated circles.
When a disagreement arose on handling a problem, Xanthos started to speak as if he were in a classroom rather than a casual gathering. Aesop realized that the situation was getting heated and tried to calm things down by reminding everyone of Dionysus's teachings on wine consumption.
Dionysus had taught that the first cup of wine should be enjoyed for pleasure, the second for delight, and the third for carefreeness. Aesop suggested that Xanthos had already had enough joy and delight and proposed to offer the younger attendees the cup of carefreeness. However, despite Aesop's efforts, Xanthos insulted and called him a hell's consultant while intoxicated. Aesop responded, "Just wait, and you will end up in hell yourself."
One of the disciples noticed that Xanthos was losing control and asked, "Teacher, is it possible for a man to do anything?" The teacher replied, "Who said anything about a man? A man can do and be able to do all things." The disciple asked, "Can a man drink the entire sea to the bottom?" Xanthos answered confidently, "Of course. That is easy. I will drink it to the bottom." The disciple asked, "What will you do if you can't drink it to the bottom?" Xanthos was already drunk and unable to respond. "I am willing to wager all of my wealth. I will forfeit everything if I fail to drink the sea to the bottom." The two men shook hands to confirm their agreement, and they sealed it by exchanging rings.
Standing at Xanthos's feet, Aesop knocked him on the shin and exclaimed, "What are you thinking, boss? Are you mindless? How can you possibly drink the sea to the bottom?"
Xanthos insulted his slave, telling him to shut up, unknowingly setting himself up for a foolish bet. The next day, Xanthos woke up and wanted to wash his face. He called Aesop and asked him to pour water on his hands. When Xanthos felt his face, he realized his ring was missing and asked Aesop what had happened. Aesop replied that he didn't know. Xanthos became worried and asked Aesop what to do. Aesop advised him to secretly save some of his wealth for the future because he no longer had control over his wealth. He explained that the previous day, at the convention, Xanthos had agreed to drink the sea to the bottom and put his ring as a guarantee of his wealth.
Xanthos was shocked and asked Aesop how to drink the sea to the bottom. Aesop replied that he had tried to stop him by saying, "Stop, boss, what are you doing? It is impossible." But Xanthos didn't want to listen. The consequences of Xanthos's foolish bet were now clear. He had lost his wealth and was now at the mercy of Aesop's plan to save him from further humiliation.
Xanthos fell at the feet of Aesop and begged him to help him win or break his agreement. Aesop told Xanthos that he couldn't win, but he would free him from the trouble. Xanthos asked how, and Aesop suggested that he act as if he would drink the sea to the bottom, as he had agreed when drunk. But now that he was sober, he should request to place a table at the beach with servants standing around.
This would attract many people to see the spectacle, thinking that Xanthos would try to drink the sea to the bottom. Once many people were watching, Xanthos had to fill a cup with the sea, call the witness, and ask him, what were the agreement terms? The witness would tell him to drink the sea to the bottom. Xanthos should then ask, maybe nothing else? The witness would reply, no. With this plan in mind, Xanthos could argue, fellow citizens, many unspoiled rivers and streams flow their water into the sea. However, I have agreed to drink only the sea to the bottom, not the rivers that flow into it. To fulfill this agreement, we must shut the mouths of all the rivers so that I may drink only the sea. But this is impossible, as there are countless rivers in the world. Therefore, the two impossible things will collide and break the agreement.
Xanthos managed to avoid the negative consequences of his unwise bet, But the moral of the story is still crystal clear. One should always be cautious when placing bets, as they may result in unexpected and unwanted outcomes that could significantly affect one's life.